happy Friday. Good evening. This is your MC, Mastermind Coach Bakar Bay, and welcome to the S.E.A.R Mastermind Podcast. Our story, our journey, our way. Joining me tonight, I'm here with my co-host, first co-founder of S.E.A.R and the Helpful Trucker brand and community on YouTube, my bro Maurice Bay. Maurice, welcome to the show.
Yo,
And our
come on,
sister,
family.
hey, I'm fantastic, brother. And then our sister, also co-founder of S.E.A.R, and also founder of Ronnie Bay Enterprises, and part of Momentum Mentors financial institution. She's your financial conductor, helping parents and professionals get on the right track to building wealth. Did I get that close? Welcome, Majida.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Welcome to the show, man. We've got a spirited conversation we're having tonight. Continuing the conversation about getting yourself and your finances in order in 2021 and forward. All right. So we kicked off the month, all right, talking about uh, where to start. Resetting or getting started, and what direction you want to go in your finances. Starting from nothing, and how do you go and grow from there. And last time we got together, we talked about actually growing, and investing in yourself. What to invest in, where to invest, and how to invest. And it wasn't your typical conversation. We ended up talking a lot about investing in yourself, more than what people may dream or think about when it comes to investing. We touched on that. But tonight, the question came up last time we were together. What do you expect now? What do you expect then when you invest? So before we dive into that conversation, I just want to check in with Majida, with Maurice, and celebrate, man. You guys, any wins, any exciting tales, any struggles that y'all been going through the last couple of weeks?
Struggling.
Struggling. Tell us your
Absolutely,
struggle.
man.
Tell us
Really,
your story.
really, man, it touches on everything that you was talking about last week in the mastermind. When we got together and you were talking about just being the admin of everything that's going on in your own life, right? So just having everything going on and trying to push in a lot of different areas. You know what I'm saying? It's just it can feel overwhelming at times. You've heard me say at times before that, entrepreneurship can be a lonely path, man. You know what I mean? So just everything is going good, everything is going lovely. Sometimes what you feel is going on is not really what's going on. And I think that's one of the biggest clues. Sometimes you need to ignore what you're feeling, right? You could be so involved in your own life that it don't feel like you getting nowhere. It don't feel like you're moving. It doesn't feel like you're advancing. It doesn't feel like things are changing fast enough. I guess that's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
But what I've always found to be true is if you keep pushing, you get to a point that you look back and you'd be like, man, I'm further along than I thought I was. You know what I mean? So it always ends up being worth it to continue pushing, which I'm gonna continue to do. But it's just one of those weeks right here where it's like, man.
We need that, and I mean I think that's so important to share, because we started this podcast to share and show people what it looks like along the journey. Right? We're not sitting here in mansions and penthouses and in suites yet, if that's even what we want. But we just letting people know that it takes everyday people deciding to make a difference in their own lives, deciding to work with some good people who can keep them accountable, which is all what we're all about here, helping creative entrepreneurs with support and accountability. Um, so yeah, I appreciate that, man. And
Yeah.
I was struggling. I was struggling the last couple of weeks, man, all through this month. But I can get here and I can put on a smile and have these conversations. But
Yeah.
Majito, what's popping in your? You're right. I hear a lot of noise. The children are always active there.
That was him because I was muted.
You with him?
That
No,
might
no,
be
no. I
my
said that was
children.
Maurice.
Yeah, that might be
Yeah.
my children.
Oh, all right.
I was muted while he was speaking, so
This
that
mic,
wasn't me.
this mic is a bit sensitive, and this environment is not treated.
But go ahead, Majito.
Um,
What's been going on?
well, mainly just self-assessing, really just been self-assessing the last few weeks. Um, Not so much needing to reset, but reassess. And so I've been diving into that a little bit, just learning more about myself and what my strengths are, what makes me tick. And that's been helping me to navigate how I want to move forward. I want to be more intentional about my actions, and assessing is allowing me to do that. I'm on an accountability call 6 a.m. Monday through Friday, and this week's topic was actually self awareness. And one of the things that was shared was the self awareness pyramid, and like the foundation of that are your values. And we're less aware of that foundation, more aware of the tip of that pyramid, which is our actions and behaviors. And in between, you've got your thoughts and your feelings, and understanding when you are clear about your values. Right, I came across this quote some time ago. It says, "When you are clear about your values, it becomes easy to make decisions." And so you have to be very self-aware in order for that to occur. So yeah, I've just been kind of on a journey of figuring me out, uh, how I want to show up in the world, if you will. So that's been fun. I actually enjoy that, kind of peeling back the layers and better understanding me and who I am and what I was created for. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and this something I came across from some years ago from, I think it was Jim Rohn, and he talked about you be, do, then have. And oftentimes we do that in the reverse orders. We focus on having the stuff, and then along the journey we figure out, okay, maybe I'm not doing what I was called to do, so we start doing some things differently. And then even further along the journey, we start realizing, like, who am I? So it's kind of, you eventually get back to this place where you're like, who am I, and what should I be doing so that I can have the things that I say I want to have, versus chasing the stuff first and then going backwards, if you will. So just a self reflection journey. Yeah.
All right. So for both of you, it's a typical week, right? Being an entrepreneur, right? Nothing sexy. It's just doing the work. A little self assessment and grinding through the work.
Yeah.
Myself, it's been getting organized and active for the months to come. So, got a schedule that's filling up. With more activity. There's a conference going on now, the 120 conference put on by ET and Associates.
Echo Monster came on.
Let's sound check.
That's it. Yeah.
Sound check. All
Good.
right. I just want to make sure we're clear. But I'm excited about that. I've already started to finishing up one connection challenge and then making some new connections going into the conference. And man, people are just fired up. They got the right energy, and it's all about finishing what you started, which is my goal, my focus for this year. Um, so that kind of leads into our conversation tonight.
Okay.
And we're talking about getting a return on your investments, right? So I'll tell a little anecdote. So when I saw the ad for the conference, all right, it's about halfway through the month, and I just received, the money the government has sent to everybody, the stimulus check, right? And I didn't have a plan for it, right? I was gonna set it aside in order to put it towards something that might be valuable or to the move later this year. And I saw the ad, and he was talking directly to me. ET was talking to me. Said, man, if you having trouble finishing what you started, this conference is for you. And I was like, well, I guess I know where I'm going, where that investment is going. And I didn't think twice about it, right? Okay, I might have thought twice about it because I always do. But then I told, man, what kind of person would I be to not go? Like, what do I gain from not being there, right? I just thought to myself, I'd be the same place that I am today without any new connections, any new exposures, any new information. And I'm saying it's my responsibility to myself, to my future, to be there. So I took that stimulus and I gave it to a multimillionaire so that he could show me better ways to become a multimillionaire, right?
Okay.
That's the way I looked at it. So tonight we're going to talk about like what's the ROI? Like what did I expect? I put out $500 for the conference. That's just the lower level. Today I looked at the number of attendees and it's over 1,200. Right.
Mm.
So you do the math, and he's doing all right. They're doing
You
all right
don't
on
know
that
what
side.
level they invested at either, though.
No, that's true. But no, exactly. That's the lowest level. So that's the minimum. 1,200 times five, right? That's 600K, and it's over 1,200, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's 600,000 that's just been generated this month, right? So
Okay.
seeing that, like I'm a guy who watches the numbers, right? So I invested into a platform that's able to generate 600K, right? Just imagine if I could take that and scale it to where I am today to scale it up, to be able to influence and help people like we intend to do. It's That's what it's all about, right?
He's showing
That
you the
exposure.
possibilities.
It's showing me the possibility.
Right.
The work is on me to get the return, but I want to have this conversation. Like, there are people who invest in so many different ways, right? Last time we were talking about having, getting a return on your investment. What does that look like? And so my first question tonight, um, and I'll ask from, Majida, you can relate this to anything, but what sort of return do you expect from when you invest? And you know what? I'm gonna start here actually. So, for those that are listening, for those that are watching in, welcome to the podcast. This is here Mastermind Podcast, and tonight we're talking about getting. What do you expect in a return when you invest? So, for example, how many of us have been in a relationship? Right, Maurice, you're married.
All of us.
All of us have been in relationships, right? Or currently in one, or currently out of one. I don't know. And so, when you're selecting a partner, when you make that commitment, like, what do you expect in return when you get into a relationship with somebody? Majid, I want to let you go first. Like, what do
I'm the
you?
single one.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You sitting there and like you have a chance to plan and think about it, right? Both of us, we're in it right now.
So what
So
do I
you
expect?
in return, what are you
Interesting question,
investing?
right?
Hold on. What are you investing? And then what do you expect in return on that investment?
I'm investing energy, time, maybe resources, and I don't know that I have like an expectation.
Interesting question.
Yeah, I would say my only expectation is the standard I set for myself. You're muted, bro.
I
Like
don't.
at a
How long is it?
minimum, I only expect I only expect of others what I demand of myself.
Okay. So
So like that's
mutualism.
kind of like my baseline, right? Like that's my standard. Um, so yeah, that's what I would say for a relationship. I don't have a listicle, if you will, of you got to do this and this and this and this. Nah, they
All
just
right.
gotta match my standard as a foundation. And then we can build from there. I try not to have unrealistic expectations because then we get disappointed. And so I find that if our standards don't match, I just walk away, cut my
Okay.
losses, and keep it moving.
Okay. We'll
I'm not
come
gonna
back to that.
expect too much. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. So you start with a standard, and if you find yourself investing more than what you expect, if you're not even meeting the standard first, it's easy to walk away. All right. let's talk to a couple people or someone who's a little more long term invested, right? He put a ring on it.
I guess you could say I'm a little bit more long term invested if it comes to a relationship. I'm sure there are other areas of life that Majida is more long term invested than I am. Yeah, but yeah, as far as a relationship, I mean, I was kind of thinking the same thing that Majida was saying, but I was thinking a different word. I was thinking the word consistency. Um, and this may not be the angle that you want me to come at it from, but what I whatever I expect from you or from a situation, like I guess it again, it needs to be consistent and congruent, and I guess don't change. In other words, if I buy a product, right? If whatever got me attracted to that product, I expect that same level of service on the back end, right? If I get into a relationship with an individual and they are one type of way on the front end, on the other end, I would expect them to be the same way. That's just something that I'm thinking as Majida was talking. Consistency, congruency. Right? Don't give me the fake out. Don't market. If it's a product, don't market it to me in a pretty way, and then the delivery is sloppy. But I guess that would be applicable to a relationship as well. Right? That could be applicable to a date too. Like, I don't want to go out on a date with you, and then at the end of the night, you take off your hair, you take off your eyes, you take off everything. Oh, consistency. Yeah, I expect consistency. What I expect is what I expect. Don't switch up on me.
All
That's
right.
funny.
That is funny. That is funny. No fake hair, no fake eyes.
Yeah, that was just an example, man. If you
Yeah,
give that,
painted
I
your
don't
whole
want
face
to.
on. No, and
I'm
that.
just saying, consistent. How I meet you is how I want to be with you. You know what I mean? Same thing
Don't
with a
introduce me. Yeah,
product.
don't introduce me to the representative.
Yeah. But again, that's the same way with investing in an actual product, I would say. You know, I invest in products sometimes and you spend the money, and then when you get it, it's like, huh? I pay how much for this? This is not worth what I thought. This ain't what I thought I was getting. You know, it's kind of just same mathematics, I would say.
So I like to bring it. Wouldn't you agree though? Investing can be a lot like dating, right? Whatever you
Absolutely.
do, investing, whether you're investing in yourself, aka dating yourself, right? That's a concept we can talk about. Or you're investing in something like the financial markets, right? And
Absolutely.
there's there's a lot of news right now about the financial markets right now.
GameStop in the news right now.
GameStop's in the news. um, what was the Reddit called? I can't think of it right now. Something Wall Street.
Yeah. Can't think of it either. Something Wall Street. Something they was talking about it on the news.
Yeah, I tried to look it up earlier, so I at least have it on here. But in
But I mean,
our
everything is an investment, though. Everything is
everything is
investment. Whether you invest in your time in a relationship, whether you invest in your money in a product, whether you invest in your energy in a course, or whether you invest, it don't. Everything is an investment. It is a seed that you plant.
so whether
Educate. Anything, yeah.
so I think that's a great point. So wouldn't you agree that whether and this is to those that again listening and watching in that whether you're whether you know it or not or believe it or not, you're always investing, right?
Absolutely.
Always invested. So I think that's takeaway number one. If you don't get nothing else out of this podcast, is recognize one way or another you're always investing. Whether you invest in time, capital, energy, or other resources. Majida, you had a thought.
Like she had something.
Push back.
Well,
Push
I
back
would
on that.
say alongside investment, there's an exchange,
Ah,
right?
great
Like
shift. Yes.
we might spend money, we might spend time, but there's a difference when you invest. So what we're referring to is really an exchange. There's always an exchange in terms of investing in a relationship or investing in a financial product or buying something. And an exchange, by definition, is getting something of greater value in exchange for something of lesser value, right? You're giving up something of lesser value for something of greater value. And so if you look at that in terms of a relationship, I'm giving up singleness, right? Something of lesser value something
Uh-uh,
greater,
no, stop it.
right? In exchange, right? Like in exchange for having this partner, I'm giving up the freedom, the whatever of singleness to
Bachelorhood.
right to build something with someone else. So there's you have to see greater value in that. Otherwise, why give it up? Why make the sacrifice? Why exchange the freedom if you don't see greater value in having a partner? Right. So you choose to make that investment because there's a perception of greater value there.
Okay.
Right. And I
And what's the difference in between the exchange and the investment? That's kind of what I was waiting.
The difference between exchange and investment.
Yeah, the investment and the exchange.
Well, we were talking in terms of investment, like
I see them as the same thing. I guess that's why I
it's
was
part of the
waiting
same
for that.
process. I'm thinking it's part of the same process. I'd say, right? The exchange is part of the investment.
well, you were saying everything's an investment,
Yeah.
and not necessarily.
You would say, yeah, I think, okay. So you're basically
I'm saying
saying,
everything's an exchange.
so everything's an exchange.
Exchange. That's what he's
Every
saying.
investment is an exchange, but every exchange is not an investment.
Yes.
That makes sense. Yeah. Because if I go to the store and I say, hey, I need you to break this $5 for me and give me 5 ones, right? That's an exchange, but it's not an investment.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
does make sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Although I'm gonna push back on that.
Uh-oh.
I think you clearly saw value in having 5 ones as opposed to the 5 at that time.
Good,
So you
that's a
you
good point.
invested in that change.
Good point. You could
Because
say that.
when you broke that 5,
Obviously, I wanted the 5 ones more than the $5 bill. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
so I would say it may not always be a fair exchange. Well, actually, the point I want to talk about here is that in that exchange, when you argue, well, couldn't someone argue that that exchange is always subjective, right? When it comes to investing, it's what you
Mm-hmm.
value versus what I value. It goes back to the old barter system.
Absolutely.
I see value in this, you see value in that. Let's exchange it.
One
so
man's
that
trash is another man's treasure.
so we both increase our value.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
it comes to investing, it's making those type of decisions, right? I bought a pizza the other day, right? One topping pizza. It was like $14 at Pizza Hut, and I know I could go to Little Caesars and get a $5 hot and ready, but I didn't want that quality of pizza, so I went down the street a little further, and I got a pizza that I felt was that I thought would give me the quality that I wanted. But after I realized I paid more than 2.5 times more for it, I was like, ah, I would have been happy with that hot and ready. Now I enjoyed the pizza,
Uh-huh.
ate every bit and bite of it, but I didn't feel like I got the exchange that I intended
Yeah.
from the investment
Yeah.
in the pizza, right? So that's just a lesson to move forward, right?
It's a lot in that.
That was an investment, right? Like that pizza wasn't an investment.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit
It's a
about
lot
that.
in
Why
there.
don't y'all see that as an investment?
It's a lot of ways that you can look at it. As
Right, 'cause go ahead. I'm
Marcus.
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying for it to be an investment in my mind, there has to be a gain, a positive gain, and unless you look at extra pounds and cholesterol,
But see, here's where I want to jump in on that. Everything, this kind of goes back to the point that Bakar just now said about everything being subjective and everything being perspective. Grant Cardone talks about, he says, when you go stay somewhere, when you go at a hotel or when you go out to eat somewhere, he's like, don't go to the cheap places. Don't go stay at the cheap places because you're not going to meet nobody there. The only place people you're going to meet when you go stay at the Holiday Inn or the Super 8 are other people that are looking for budget motels to stay in. But when you choose to go and stay in a 5-star hotel or motel or resort or whatever, you liable to interact with somebody that is of that caliber. So again, I mean, okay, are you going for if your only reason for going is just to get twice as good of a taste in pizza, you know what I mean? That's one way to measure your return. If your reason for going was to have the experience because you love the ambiance of this place and you just love being able to go in there and listen to the music and you know what I mean, that is another way to measure the return. And another way to measure the return is, did you meet anybody? Did anything interesting happen to you along the way? Did you experience any opportune moments along the way?
Yeah,
A bunch of ways to measure return on investment.
And to that point, I think it speaks to how you see things.
Absolutely, I would agree.
Like, did he go there just for the pizza? Or did he go there for the experience? Did he go here for the opportunity that may exist there? And I don't know it was the case.
I went there for the greasy pan crust, and when I got there, I said I want more than cheese on this pizza, and I threw my favorite topping on it. And then when I saw the value that they placed on it, I recognized, oh no, I don't want to pay that much, but I done already put my order in, and I've already got a taste for this pizza. I'm gonna make the exchange today,
Yeah.
but I might not be back in the future. And what I
Mm-hmm.
also gained in that is the lesson. Man, price of pizza done gone up, where that pan crust ain't worth it like it used to be. Right? That pan crust on top, it ain't worth it like it used to be. It's nice once in a blue moon, and then I know I'm gonna get, like, it's gonna be an experience. But from now on, if I want a pizza, I'm hit the hot and ready's, because exchange wise, that gives me the value that I'm looking for in that little
Yeah.
exchange. You know
And
what
where
I
do
mean?
you get the hot and ready from?
Little
Caesars.
Caesar.
Um,
Okay,
Pizza.
I got you.
However,
So it wasn't a matter of getting a
we're not
pizza from the
advertising for them.
Of course. No, what I was
They're
wondering, what
not
I
a
was
sponsor for this show unless they
yeah,
want to be.
not yet. Right?
I can
Little
put the hot
Caesars,
and ready's
hey,
on there.
yeah, Little Caesars.
No, we are not
Wink, wink.
promoting pizza.
But
You're not
what I
promoting pizza.
We're not
because
promoting pizza.
that
Oh, we're
reminds me
supposed to
of
be having a serious conversation, but let's
that reminds me
keep
of
it going. Keep it
A
going.
Dave Chappelle joke. Dave Chappelle said, "I promoted Coke and Pepsi, and all I know is the one that paid me the most recent. That's the one I like to pass."
That's right.
But anyway, what I was trying to find out is, was this the difference there between going to the grocery store and getting a pizza and bringing it home and going down the street and eating out? It was just the difference between two different
Convenience.
establishments, right?
It was also the time savings as well. So
Yeah.
I had 15 or 20 minutes. I
Yeah.
didn't have the time to go to the store, heat up a pizza,
Yeah.
and do all of that.
Yeah.
So it was like I also paid for that convenience
Yeah.
as well. So when I want a convenient, hot and ready, with nothing on it, I know where to go.
Yeah.
If I want a little more than that, it might be worth it to, curb that craving and push it off until later, till I can get a more valuable exchange.
As we talk, and one thing that I'm thinking about, and this kind of goes back to the whole general question right now, which is, what sort of return do you expect on your investment, right? So in this scenario that we're talking about with the pizza, so if I'm going out to buy pizza, what is the return that I'm looking for when I'm going out to spend the money for that pizza? Am I just going out looking to feed myself, looking to nourish myself? Am I, again, looking to meet somebody? Some people, they would prefer to go to this place or that place to meet somebody, right? What am I going for? I guess that's the main thing that I'm thinking about. And the reason I think that's relevant is because if you invest, you spend the money, you give the time, you invest the energy, you invest the concentration, the focus, whatever it is that you have to invest, and you don't get the return that you think you should get. If all you're looking for is that return, there may be another type of return available. So it goes back to the question of, what sort of return are you expecting on your investment? Me personally, as I'm thinking about this, I would like to be in a space where whenever I invest anything, I'm prepared to receive whatever opportunity comes as a result of it. So if I invest in something, time, energy, whatever, and I don't get the return that I expect, to me, it's a beautiful thing. A true entrepreneur is able to see an opportunity in anything So and we talking about pizza right now, but just to change it to something, you know what I'm saying, business wise, this is a good example talking about the pizza because that's something that we all know this experience. Again, am I able to walk into the pizza shop, expect to get a pizza that's gonna satisfy me twice as much because I'm paying twice as much for it? I don't get that satisfaction from it, but I'm still in a mental place that I'm able to find amount of return that's worth it. I'm able to dig that out of the situation, be it in an interaction or whatever, a lesson learned, whatever. You know what I mean?
I think that's a
So
great point. Go ahead, Manjita.
I was gonna say, if you look at every interaction engagement as an investment, then yes, you're gonna always get a return, right? Because that's the lens that you look through. I'm looking to gain something from this experience, from doing this thing. And so I looked up the definitions. The definition for spend: pay out parentheses money in buying or hiring goods or services, an amount of money paid for a particular purpose over a particular period of time. So that's what it means to spend. Invest means to expend money with the expectation of achieving a profit or material result by putting it into financial plans, shares, or property, or by using it to develop a commercial venture. Second definition: provide or endow someone or something with a particular quality or attribute. So the difference I see between those definitions is spending is just you're giving, right? You're exchanging something of lesser value for something of greater value, right? Invest, I'm going to expend or give this with the mindset that I'm going to get a greater value or return from what I'm expending.
I get
It
it. I
sounds like
guess
the same thing.
I
So
mean, I see how it
make
could
it plain
be.
and simple for the listening audience. How can you simplify? Because I'm hearing from spin is you're exchanging something of
I get what
lesser
what point
value
she's making.
for greater value. But if you're investing, you're expending something, hoping to develop it into something of greater value to you.
Well, I'll use this. I was looking on Instagram today, and the individual, she's known as the female real estate guru, Erica Lynn Smith. And on one of her posts, she said, wealthy people invest in assets. No, no, she used the term they invest in income. They buy income. That's what she said. They buy income, right? To make it simple. They buy income. When you buy income or things that can generate income, they can produce a return that can replace the income that you actually work for.
Mm.
Poor people buy liabilities that they then have to work more for in order to pay.
All right.
Right? So that's the difference, right? When you spend, you're buying liabilities like a pizza. When you invest, you're buying a franchise,
Something that can replace
generate.
what you can generate
They can
to
make all the
replace.
pizzas you want, but there's a multiplication factor, if you will.
I think the point that I'm seeing, I think I've heard Jim Rohn say, like in life, you don't reap what you sow, you reap more than you sow.
But yep,
Right? So you plant one seed in the ground and you don't get back one seed, you get a whole tree full of
three.
apples, full of seeds, right? So I mean, I don't know. To me, it seems that it's all in how an individual is looking at something. because
Yeah.
I am seeing the connection between spend and invest. I'm definitely seeing the connection, but I can also see how they would be defined as something different. I can see that, you know. But I mean, when I spend money on the bread, it goes back to what Bakar was mentioning earlier. I spend the $3 on the bread because I want what the bread offers more than what the $3, you know what I mean. So,
But the bread doesn't go to producing more bread for you per se.
but it does
You had to
produce
go back.
nourishment for me. It's like saying that putting fuel in your car is not an investment. You get what
It
I'm
is
saying?
if it
That's
gets you to
definitely an
work.
investment. Or if it gets you home.
Yeah,
Which,
that too.
but I mean, again, this is a matter of perspective. What did you
Perspective,
go?
yeah.
What did you go to the pizza parlor expecting? Or you go in there just to get a pizza? You just spending money if you just getting a pizza.
Right.
But I mean, to me, if you looking for any other kind of benefit out of that, and and here, watch this. Here's something that we're not even thinking about. What about a person that's from a third world country that ain't never tasted pizza a day in their life before? To me, that's an investment. If they work hard for one day and they say, you know what, I worked hard, I made money, and I just want to have the experience of going and eating a piece of pizza, that would seem to me that that's an investment. I'm trading my $5 or whatever it costs for this pizza for an experience that's of value to me. That wouldn't qualify as an investment to y'all? To you, Margita? Not according to the definition, the Wikipedia definition, right?
I don't
It's
know. It depends on
interesting.
how they can flip that experience. Is what I would say.
And here's the thing: an experience
Everything
lasts for
calms
you how
down.
long? How long does an experience last for you? The experience that you have, you're gonna have it for the rest of your life.
The memory you'll have.
The memory of
Then
the
I,
experience.
yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I
All
see
right.
I
that.
mean,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead,
Margita.
B.
You the first.
No, I was gonna say like we're talking about pizza, right? So in your point, having that experience one time, great, right? You get the satisfaction, you have the memory, but everything compounds. If from that experience you're like, I want pizza every day, or every week, or every month, what will that look like 5 years from now, 10
It
years from
might
now?
look like you owning your own pizza franchise. I mean, realistically, right? You got to factor that in, right?
It could, but if you're just buying pizza, you're not researching franchises, right? Like that's it's still like you said, your perspective, how you look at it. Like, man, I want to be able to have pizza whenever I want. One person's mindset may be, all right, I need to go make money so that I can afford pizza whenever I want. The other person's mindset may be, I need to find a way to own a pizza franchise so that I can have this experience whenever I want. Right? It's how you
And
look at it.
and
And they
another
both.
person may say, "Man, that pizza was delicious. I need to learn how to make pizza for myself. That maybe I
Hmm.
could sell to others who want to have the pizza experience.
That's where the
That way,
idea
I
of
can
it turning
have my
into a pizza
pizza
franchise
and
come
eat
in.
it too."
That's where the idea of a pizza franchise comes. Like your love of pizza turns into you building your own pizza franchise. Is exactly what I was talking about. I mean, again, it's all in what you do with it.
It
But
is.
but it's still like you said, your mindset and how you look at what you're doing.
Yeah.
If what you're doing is just I'm going to work to get a paycheck at the end of the week, and that's where it stops, you lose the value of what that check can do. Right? We
Yeah.
talked about this a few weeks ago.
Right.
You use your job to fund your dream, right? You take the income that you earn from your job and you invest it in things that can generate income for you that can replace your income. So when we were talking about return on your investment, your greatest financial asset is your ability to earn, right?
I
Like
like
that's what
that.
starts the process.
Uh-huh.
Your ability to earn an income is your greatest financial asset. What you do with what you earn is up to you,
Hmm.
but you got to start there.
Got you. So let's pivot a little bit.
All right.
Talking about level of expectancy, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What should your level of expectancy be? And in practical terms, thank you, sweetie. And in practical terms, this is what I mean by that. You invest something, money. We can use money because that's the easiest thing to measure. Um, Not everything you invest in comes back right away. Some things you invest in, it seems like you lost money when you invest in it, right? So getting your level of expectancy in check. A lot of people come into trucking and people they're told that one of the first things you need to do is get your level of expectancy in check. And the main reason is because trucking costs a lot of money. Becoming an owner operator costs a lot of money. So people, the great American dream for people that's in the trucking industry is they want to own their own truck one day, and they think, you know what I mean, it's going to be big and beautiful and all that good stuff. And then you come in, and for the first year, maybe first 2 years, you don't make as much money as you plan to make, right? Talking about your level of expectancy. So talk about that, right? What should you expect? You can use the pizza example if you want to, but you don't have to, right? I spend out some money, I spend out some energy, I spend out some time. What should I expect from it?
All right. Second point to assets, right? Kind of back to what I said earlier. Wealthy people, their mindset is to buy income. Your greatest asset, not financial, but your greatest asset is time. Your level of expectancy, oftentimes when people invest, they want a quick return. They want something to happen right away. We have a microwave mentality, if you will.
Especially in this day and age.
Right?
Push
I put
button
something
time.
up, I should have something tomorrow. Put something up today, have something tomorrow. And that's not realistic. Doesn't mean you don't dream and think big and all of that. But time is your greatest asset when it comes to building wealth, when it comes to getting a return on your investment. Right? You didn't get married 5 years ago and expect that your life was going to be right, like not evolve, not change, not grow. Over time, you see the value is added, increasing all over time. But you didn't get married to her when you got married, and then it was like everything was going to right. It was going to be like it was day one,
That's how
right?
it
The
was with me and my
compound
wife.
effect, huh?
That's how it was with me and my wife. I love you, baby. Love you, honey.
With the late night voice on that one. Yeah, I want to chime in on this, right? Unless
Yeah,
you want
yeah,
to.
yeah.
Uncle G.
All right.
Go
So
ahead, bro.
I 100% agree with the idea of your greatest asset being time. I would say when it comes to my values, my time is my number one. And what I choose to do with my time is something that I want to have, as much freedom and control with than any other thing that I put my hands, eyes, or, senses to. So to your question, Maurice, what do you expect? And I like something that E.T. Eric Thomas often or has said and often says is if you're already struggling, right? Like get something in return.
Yeah, I like that. Yep.
You already struggling. You already, fought and worked. And I feel like one of the key differences when it comes to investing versus spending is spending you expect an immediate return on service or good, right? The expectation is you
That's a good
expect an
point.
immediate turn.
That's a good point.
And you essentially write out that element of time to multiply your value. It's a 1-to-1, right? It's equal right now. And you know what? There's extreme value in that, right? In being able to instantly flip and exchange value, that kind of spending. But the idea of investing is that you multiply it by time and chance, resources, and everything else that's going on. But if you multiply the element of time, you stand to gain even greater returns. And that's
Yep.
the key difference when it comes to the mindset and actions and activities when in investing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking about what's been going on within the news recently, right, with RH and GameStop and that whole story. There are communities on Reddit. For those that don't know, definitely go read up on it. But communities on Reddit where just by sheer volume of people coming together and having a discourse about what they wanted to move, they were able to empower themselves to move the market
Mm-hmm.
against what the Wall Street, the hedge fund managers, and what Wall
Mm-hmm.
Street would do, right? And Wall Street doesn't like when the little guy can manipulate the market, but we're living in a day and age where now we have greater resources, and key thing is access, right?
The ability is there more so than ever to do it now.
To come together through social networks and channels and communities and to
Beautiful.
come to a consensus
And
to
affect
be
change.
and affect change, right? That's powerful,
Beautiful.
isn't
That's
it?
Yes.
powerful.
That's so
You gotta
powerful. So
love
that's
it.
that's what's that. I mean, there's nothing like this has ever happened in the market. Like it scared the company RH so much that they started to shut down and limit what people could invest in, somewhat limiting. So there's a class action lawsuit and all kinds of things that are going on because kind of taking away that element of free in the market, right?
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating story. It's something I'm gonna definitely be following throughout the year, being a trader and somebody who's interested in markets. But I think one of the key elements is that it takes there's trading in the stock market and things. It is a zero sum game. Every time somebody's winning, somebody else lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Hmm.
it's a series of instantaneous exchanges that for those who know when to get in and when to get out, which direction to trade in, etc. Those who are studied and professional in this space, right? Professional when it comes to the ideas and the craft of investing, they stand to gain greater returns. Where those who are amateurs, who may find themselves at the tail end or coming in late or poorly informed or poorly prepared, may often find themselves losing. And I think oftentimes becomes they come in with unrealistic expectations. They come in not understanding what to gain, what are the potential gains, and what are the potential losses, right? If you don't have an expectation for what your losses are going to be, how do you know when to get out of a bad investment, right? How do you know when to get out of a bad relationship? How do you know to stop going to that pizza place
And
when you
that's why
don't?
I said it goes back to self awareness, right? If your value system is in place, then your decisions are easier to make about how you're going to invest
How
or
you
what
gonna
to
move?
invest, right? Like I'm a long term thinker, so my decisions when it comes to investing are always long term because I understand that it takes time to get the compound effect. And think about it this way, very simply, right? $100 invested today at 4% annual rate of return gives you $4 at the end of the year, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
not sexy, right? $100 invested in a 12% account at the end of the year is $12. That's still not sexy. The compound effect over time, though, is where the value lies.
Yeah.
So your expectation of this year, wait, I earned $4 versus 12. Yeah, I earned more, but it's $8, right? Like it's a lunch meal difference because I invested in 4% versus 12. However, by me investing in a 12% account long term, right? 20 years from now, 40 years from now, it's going to look a lot sexier than 4%.
Yeah.
I'm a push back on that, and you, I think you make a great point. Yeah, I am. I actually am going to push back. This is one of the reasons I went into the free market. Um, so just like you said, that 12%, that even that 20 years isn't sexy
Mm-hmm.
anymore to this generation, right? And so with the level of access that we have today, being able to generate returns like that in a matter of minutes, hours, days, and weeks is possible, plausible right? Not for everybody.
Unsustainable.
No, no, I would disagree with that. It is sustainable, again, if you are disciplined and professional in that, in what you value, right? So you said that you are, what did you
Long
say a
term
second
thinker.
ago? A long term thinker, right? And I feel like I've always been long term thinking. I've added on that I'm a value added investor, a value added investor, because I learned personally ways that you can compound, right, faster with the right skill set, with the right effort, right? And I'm not just talking about, in the trading world, but
Hmm.
sticking with that example, right? It's the reason why, this Reddit group and the stocks that they were choosing to, you could almost say inflate, but I heard the guy who wrote the Wolf of Wall Street, call it's almost like an old school pump and dump, right? Except it's not the hedge funds and those who are doing it, but it's community,
Yeah.
because
And,
they have
and
access, but they can't influence change. However, the challenge with that is for those who come in late, like they're for those who are less disciplined or less knowledgeable, they do stand to be on the losing side of that if you don't know what you're doing. And I think that's what any investment. If you don't know what you're
yeah.
doing, you'll definitely end up on you almost certainly end up on the losing side of it if you don't take at minimum a lesson from it. Right? Like if you keep doing that over and over again, the definition of insanity, not doing anything to change, you're going to keep losing, right? That's how people get bitter and say, "Oh man, it's a scam, it's rigged." It's like, no, you're ignorant
Right,
to
because
be
you didn't make
rigged.
the first investment, which was the investment in yourself, the investment in the education to be able to be better prepared
Absolutely.
to handle, right? That could be to say in real estate or stocks or a relationship, right? You have unrealistic expectations because you see the possibility, you see the end result. But what does it take to have a positive return, right? What's required? You may have to do a lot of work up front in order to have that positive return. But if you delay, right, if you aren't willing to put the time in to inform yourself, you could waste. And right, I'm dealing with that currently, trying to help somebody who's doing real estate investing, right? Just because you can get access to money, right? And I had this experience, of course, buying my first house. They approve you for $150,000 loan, doesn't mean you know how to manage a mortgage or maintenance of a house, right? It just means that you had access to money. But if you don't have the education or the mindset to know what to do with the money once you get it, it's really for naught. You end up losing more than you gain
Right.
because you weren't educated. So if we can start and focus on the education, informing yourself, understanding how things work, then when you make your moves, it's more intentional.
Hmm.
So
Oh no, great point. And I mean that goes back to what we were talking about last podcast about the greatest investment you believe you can make is in yourself. Right? If
yeah,
you don't have what I would call experience, and I think this is something that pops up in gaming all of the time. And I use gaming as an example because it's something that's really blowing up in education right now. But gaming and gamifying life, right? In just about every game you play, in order to get further and advance, you got to gain experience. You got to get out there, you got to grind, you got to kill the little monsters, or you got to do the little puzzles or whatever, right? But to get to those high levels, you have to do the work, you have to gain experience, you have to develop. So for those who are like first time investors, as Maurice just said, you got to check your expectations. Like those who are first time truckers, when you're investing in yourself, you're going out there first. You gotta figure out from those who are more experienced, what can I realistically expect in what time frame on these returns, and then be able to provide the evidence of it. Like Majida, you have financial professionals who showed you the long term plan and what the returns, and you're invested in that, right? I'm invested in that. I mean, I had people who showed me, man, how they get short term rapid gains with patience, discipline, and you know, knowledge and the skill set.
plan.
right, and a plan, and like you said, it's a value system, right? It's not just values. Like, hey, I got values. I throw them in. Like, no, I have a system of values that tell me when I'm in this situation, I do this. When I make this decision, I make this decision. And when that system is running, right, you can multiply and compound your value positively, profitably. But it's not something that comes without experience, right? You can get lucky a few times, right? But those who are jumping into the jumping in trying to buy GameStop now or GameStop now,
Right.
they're late, and because they don't understand what's going on enough, they just maybe heard it. They stand to lose a lot, and can truly damage or harm themselves. And so when we talk about what are your expectations, expect there to be a lot of work. I think there's like a curve that like dips down
Mm-hmm.
and it
The
goes
most
up. There's,
expensive.
there's a lot of input that has to go in. A lot of times investments look risky because it takes a lot of work and discipline to get to the point where you can see and and expect the returns. And it takes doing it over and over and over again in multiple spaces
To
in
build
order
the muscle.
to build the muscle, right, to get the return. Like when I go out on the, I think about the guys about to play the Super Bowl. Tom Brady's like 45, 90 years old or something out there, right? Still showing. He went to a whole different team. They put some pieces around him. He's still doing the same thing. Why? Because he's got the muscle memory. He's
Muscle
got the
memory.
experience. He knows how to build a championship
You got
um,
it.
team. And even if he can't move around like he could, he was never fast. So but even though he can't move around, he's not only got fundamentals, but he's sharper than ever. He's done the work to maintain his body, which is the piece that can fool you when you get up in that age. You're like, oh, my brain is saying, my mind's telling me, hey, my body's like, oh no, I'm not doing that. I think we all going through that a little bit right now. But for somebody like it's 20 years. Like somebody like Tom Brady, he's been in football 20 years. He went in 2001, and now in 2021, he's back in the Super Bowl.
I think.
Winners win.
Go ahead.
Right. So
That's all.
how do you get around? What does his investment look like
Yeah,
to be able to get that kind of result? But go ahead.
I wanted to. I think that's kind of the direction I was going in, man. To me, it goes back to that point of going back to the pizza example. And I guess the main point that I was trying to bring out about that pizza example is I would imagine that Tom Brady I would imagine that everything he has done over in the past is to optimize him and himself. So if he ate a piece of pizza, it was a reason why he ate that pizza. Where in his mind, it was gonna make him play better this Sunday or something. I can't say it was that, but it was something. And I guess this kind of
He's
goes.
vegan.
Say it again.
He's vegan.
Well, okay.
There's vegan pizza. But anyway,
pizza too.
I'm just saying, like, even that decision, right? Like what he puts in his body, he knows everything counts.
ooh,
So he can't
I like
say,
this. I like this. I
I'm
like where
going
this is
to work
going.
hard on the field, I'm going to watch film, I'm going to do all of these things, but I'm going to eat terribly. No, everything counts.
Ooh,
It's not what we say. This, I'm telling you, it's accountability call, right? People, I got the health motivator on there. She said it's not the crunches, it's the munches, right? What you eat impacts your results more than, right, all of the exercise. And we were talking about self awareness this week, and one of the coaches spoke about Tom Brady, right? He talked about his example. He was drafted in the sixth round, right? The last round of the draft. But he made a decision when they drafted him, right? He started off as a backup quarterback. He made a decision that their choice in him, they wouldn't regret. And so he understood, he was self-aware, he understood his value system. He understood I can run it, I can't run as fast, I can't throw as hard. Right? He knew his limitations, but he also figured out what can I do? What I'm gonna invest, in the things that are going to give me the greatest return, even with the limitations that I may have. I may not be like this quarterback or that quarterback. And the evidence is right. They call him, he's the GOAT.
Oh,
Well,
okay. Yeah, and
I don't know who calls him the GOAT, but okay.
hey, look, you don't have to be a fan, but you can't
I'm
help but
joking.
respect the track
I'm
record.
joking.
And
I'm
I'll be
joking.
honest,
Yeah.
I feel the same. I feel the same. I was never a huge Tom Brady fan. I'm still not, but I have the highest regard and respect for him for what he has accomplished in his career. And here's the thing: when we talk about investing, and I think that microwave society, it can be very easy to see people getting sexy results and not see the work that they've done to get those sexy results. Right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
My mentor in trading is over 9 figures now. 3.5 years ago, he had almost nothing. That's the level of scaling. And I'm like, all right, what do I need to change in me to be able to go from 0 to 9 figures in a matter of 3.5 years? And it may not be that path for me, right? I'm a different individual. I may do things at a different pace, but I see the possibility and know that the capability is also within me. He's human, I'm human. Like, ain't nobody better than me at being me. So I'm gonna maximize my value and do it however. But going back to the investment, one thing I was thinking about with Tom Brady, you know, it's also how do you measure your return on your investment, right? So the thing about any sports team is you can only win one championship per year. You can't get 6 rings in 1 year, right? Somebody might look at Tom Brady like, oh, he the GOAT. He got 6 rings, like, but he's in his what I don't know, like 10th Super Bowl in 20 years. He had to get to 10 Super Bowls to even have the possibility to win 7, to get 6 under his belt, right? He had to get to that many. So what is the work that he had to do and maintain to get that one, right? Because there's a lot of people who win one. I think about Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers, young, went out, he won one Super Bowl. I don't think he's been back since. And he's still rated one of the top quarterbacks in the game, but he hasn't been back to a chip, right? When I saw them lose the other game, I was like, against Brady too, like, you can't make no argument. Brady has the track record. I don't know what I see Aaron Rodgers commercials for State Farm. Right? Maybe he needs an insurance plan for his for his legacy. But that's not a shot at A-Rod. Yeah, I like all quarterbacks. But anyway, um, you can't win 6 rings in 1 year, right? So when you talk about setting your expectation, it's to get that one, right? And whatever work you have to do to get that one is what puts you on the path to be able to get the returns you want. Like for me, when it comes to investing in myself, I get a lesson out of everything. I don't always make the best or the right choices, but I get a lesson out of everything. I get either a reminder, I get something that's going to grow me to say, all right, I know the best version of me is going to do this. It's not going to do it, and I'm completely aware of when I'm doing the things that are going to get me where I want to go, and when I'm in a space where I'm not doing the things that's not going to get me where I want to go. And like you said, it compounds, right? So it has to develop consistency, right? I gotta go and I gotta go win one chip. I gotta go, and then once I win one championship, I need to go out and win another chip, right? So if that's you investing in yourself, like to start a business, the first thing is like start a business. My first business was me trying to sell battery packs when Pokemon Go came out because I realized people were going through burning through their battery in like 2-3 hours and they needed something to plug into it on the go. And then before I did any market research, I just tried to put something together in like 3 weeks. I got a business license. I went through all of the steps of like, what do I do? I started a business, right? And the business died within like 6 weeks. Why? Because when I finally had a chance to do some market research, I realized there were places in DC and major cities that had stations where you could go, plug up. But I just knew that within the game there were hubs, there were places that people would go to do like little game events and stuff like that. And I'd be like, man, that'd be a perfect place to set up a power charging station, right? And generate income. I saw the opportunity. I moved as fast as I could, but I was already 6 months behind the market because the people who knew that Pokemon were coming out, had already, set themselves up. And I don't know if it's still going on like that now, but it was going through that process of putting together a business plan, of putting together, my expectations. It was going through the work of that to realize, all right, to start a business takes more work than just jumping in the market, right? A lot of people, when it comes to trading stocks or whatever, they want to just jump into the market with no expectations on what they could lose, which is the rule number one. Is like nowhere to stop your loss. But rule two, no expectations on what they can gain. So not knowing when to get out or when to take their profits and be able to multiply that into other deals, And that's not just in trading, but that's I think rule number one is knowing, is setting an expectation. What do I stand to lose, right? I was like, when I went to the pizza place, we could come back to the example. I ain't spending more than $15 on a medium one topping pizza. I didn't want to spend like more than 12. It went a little bit over, and I was like, all right, well, I won't make that decision again.
Yeah.
Until I get, or else I'll do it with the deal, right? But I know people
And I
who,
think that's part of
professional
course
couponers,
correction.
who was that?
I think that's part of course correction, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with having an experience or making an investment to learn how you need to move forward, right? All right, I'm going to go get this pizza. Oh, wait a minute, pizza's $12. Won't do it. So then you course correct. You don't go back the next week and spend $12 and then you down again about I just spent $12 on a medium pizza.
A lot of
Like
people
you're not
living like
learning
that too.
nothing.
A
Right?
lot of
People
people
keep
living
doing
like, oh man, they go to
they
their job
do.
every day,
You
complain
complain
about it.
about it. Yep. You complain about it, but you ain't willing to do anything different to get a different result. Like that's where the growth comes. That's where the investment comes, right? Like investing is really a mindset.
It is.
It's not, oh, I gotta go to this job. I get to go to this job. I get to learn something. I get to get better. I get to add value. Cause that's the way I perceive it. I don't look at it as like I'm doing them a favor by showing up. They'll replace me easily, right? Like they'll find somebody else to do what I do. What can I stand to gain by going here? And this is something that my mentor asked last week to our organization. He reiterated it again this week. What if you saw what you do differently? Whether you pick up trash, you're a teacher, you're a parent, uh, the president, whatever. What if you saw what you do differently? It wasn't about you. It was about why you're in that position. How did you get to where you are? And what are you purposed to do while you're there? Like, I don't think anything happens by chance. So if I end up working in the construction industry as a project manager, how did I get here? Well, I like math, so I chose engineering as a field of study in college. I graduated. I knew that I didn't want to sit in an office. I wanted to have the option of being able to be out in office, have options, right? I didn't want to be in a cubicle, right? So I made a decision to work for a company that gave me the flexibility of being in the office and being out in the field. But when I got there, I was like, I'm green, right? Like, I'm timid, I'm shy, I don't know if this construction thing is for me, right? So for a while I questioned, but I was able to grow there. I was able to develop skills, I was able to develop confidence, leadership, right? But I went into it not with the mindset that I'm coming here to get a check every week. I'm coming here to get better. 5.5 years into my job, I remember going to the owner, no, I'm sorry, to the president or vice president at the time. He's the president now. I remember going to him and saying, I'm a type of person that like I need to grow, right? And things were kind of stagnant at that time. It was 2011. And so right after the recession, so not a lot of stuff was moving, right? Like the economy wasn't booming. We didn't have a lot of stuff going on. So they weren't really hiring anybody new. They weren't promoting really anybody. So like I remember him telling me that I was stuck. And I didn't take it personally, but when I thought about it, I'm like, how can I be somewhere and I can't grow? That's because I went into the job with the mindset that I'm going to learn here, right? I'm going to rise to the occasion. 6 months after having that conversation with him, I was offered the opportunity to move to Richmond with the promotion, and that's what allowed me to start managing projects on my own, be in a leadership position, um, gain more confidence, right? Because I had to deal with things on a different level. But had I not had that conversation where they had talked to me, and I remember this was a couple years ago, same individual, president now, he asked me, or he said in a meeting that we had once a month, he said he had some trepidation about promoting me because of who I was,
Mm.
timid, shy, reserved, right? Like that doesn't work in that industry. But fast forward, the results from what I've been able to do lets him know that he made the right decision. Why? What? It let him know that he made the right decision because of who I am, right? I made the decision that I had to grow. I had to become the person that could handle the responsibility. I could have stayed in who I thought I was. Oh, I can't do this, or oh, I'm not this type of person. Or I could figure it out. What do I need to learn in order to perform in the way that I'm expected to perform? Another mentor of mine says, how long should you not know how to do something?
That's right. That's big. That's big right there.
So investing or return on your investment is really looking at yourself. Are you worth it? Are you worth the investment in yourself to grow, to become, so that you can do the things that you need to do, so that you can have the things that you want to have? It's up to you.
Maurice, you've been silent for a while. I know we didn't taken over the conversation.
All good.
Um, and I'm getting great value out of the conversation with y'all. I'm excited that we've been able to have this conversation to talk about it from so many different angles. Right, from relationships to purchasing pizzas to dealing with the market or your jobs. There's so many different ways, and I go back to what I said at the beginning. You're always investing, always investing. Now, somebody's losing, but it doesn't always have to be that everybody loses in those situations, right? If nothing else, get the lessons, right? There's always a lesson to be learned in what you do, even if it's don't make those moves, don't stay the same. That's what I'm getting from the conversation is don't stay the same. Like continue to invest. Don't just spend time and spend life and, you know, breathe air and don't get something in return for it, right? You could spend your whole life wondering what your return is, or you can go out and figure out what to expect. All right. Like I love trading now because I know what to expect. Right. And when things don't go that way, I know, okay, what more do I need to learn? Who do I need to become? As you just said, Majida, who do I need to become in order to meet the expectation that's been shown to me, right? To meet the expectation that I recognize I'm capable of, to meet that expectation. How do I need to continue to grow? And it's just building up those small wins. It's doing the work over and over again. Um, you know, I like to have a rule. I mean, I like the simple rule is, and I think they talk about this in the financial world often, is like the first aim is to double your return, right? First target, when we're talking about like concrete expectations, is aim to double whatever you put in. If I'm gonna put in, 50 hours, like let me get 50 hours worth in return to what I'm doing, right?
Wouldn't it be 100?
Hmm? I said 50 hours in addition to. But a lot of people look at that as retirement. Hey, I'm gonna work for 40 years, right? Oh, I'm gonna work for 30 years so that I can live without working for 30 years. But I don't think that's necessarily a fair exchange, right? Especially when there ain't no guarantee that you'll get to retire without a plan and some discipline, or B, you'll even live that long, right? So when it comes to like money managing, I'd say, and Majida, you're the conductor, so I know that the rule that I have for myself is to double my return. That's my get out point, right? I went to Vegas over the holiday back in December, and I went to a penny slot. I told the story one way, but I went to a penny slot, right? And I put in $3. I put in $3, right? First time I won, um, I put in $3. The bet was like 80 cents, and I won 45 something. And my friend that was standing next to me, she was like, "Oh man, you won," and I was like, "Won? What you mean? I lost 35 cents. I didn't win nothing. I bet 80 and I got back 45. That's not a win. That's a loss. That's
Yeah.
And so I hit the button again. Oh, it was like 60 cents. That's what it was. The 60. I lost like 45. The next one came back. It was like 40 cent, right? And I was just like, all right. So I'm down again, and she was like, "Oh, you win. This machine's hot. This machine's hot. What do you mean?" I didn't have expectations. The only expectation I have is if I'm going to bet anything or gamble, the expectation is to double it and get out, right? And I was like, all right, I'm willing to put in this little $3 in order to see. 60 cent, like 60 cent. That means I get 5 chances to double it, right? On the third press, I'm down to like, I don't know. I was 60 cent, 120 down from 3. I was at like 180, 150 something, right? I went double or nothing. Double or nothing, because that's all I had left, right? I could do 2 bets of 60, or I could go double or nothing. So I went double 120. It went up to like, I won like $4 or $5 or something on that. I went to 60. I was like, ooh, cashed out. And most people be like, "What? You ain't win no money. What you mean?" I doubled my return.
I'm wondering why you get out of an investment that you double your return, and that's what I'm wondering. Like, I ain't getting out of an
Yeah, the
investment that I'm
value
doubling my
system.
return.
Yes, right,
That's
coach.
exactly
Yep.
what we're talking about tonight. That's
Values are the
exactly
foundation.
what we're talking about tonight.
Then there's emotions. Then there's feelings, right? So, or maybe it's feeling, no, feelings and emotions. So, most people make emotional decisions, right? So, in that moment, oh man, I just doubled my return. Let me see if I can double it again. The odds are not stacked in your favor. You got to
Well,
know.
I guess what I was saying, and this might be off topic, so if it is, pardon me. I do
We'll bring it
drag the
back.
conversation off topic sometimes, but yo, I'm getting my money out, and I'm gonna continue to play. Like I got my money back.
You mean get the 3 out and
Get
continue
my money
to,
back, and I'm playing with the tables money. What you know, what I mean, that's their money at that point. That's what I'm thinking.
No,
And I'm
that is
staying in, and I'm trying to double that.
So I feel you on that. I feel you 100% on that.
You don't walk away from the goddamn table. What the heck, bro? Where you going? It's time to come up now.
I'm
Okay.
I'm going to cash out is what I'm doing, because my expectation was to double my return.
Yeah.
When it hit that mark, I'm done gambling. I'm done, I'm done trading. I'm done. I hit my target, right? When you hit the market, you set your take profit. You don't get to, take profit and then get back in. No, you got to find another re-entry point at that point. And you know what? You can take your initial investment, take the profit off, right? And put your initial investment back in, and you wouldn't lose anything, right? But my value system was, I want to double my return. I walk away with double or better. That's exactly what I bet on. I walked away with double or nothing, because I know that the game is stacked against me. I had a knowledge and awareness to know that this isn't set up for me to win big unless I'm putting in a lot of time, effort. Like it's a lottery mentality. People who play the lottery, people who play slots, people who come up
on GameStop stocks. Because we already
who
talked
weren't
about that.
who
We already
weren't a
talked
part
about
of the Reddit community, right?
We
The
already
ones
talked
who
about
part of the Reddit community planned the move. They said we're gonna invest in and pump this up because guess what? Wall Street is shorting it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take their money because they're expecting it to lose. They're all betting for it to go down. Hey, we get enough, we pool enough of our resources together, and we set the time that we do it. Guess what? We take their money and then we get out, or we take their money and we keep until they panic, right? And then we start shorting it after it's all the way at the top. All right, when it hits this mark, this is when we'll see where it goes. It went from $4 a share last year to over 400.
Yeah, I guess my mentality is just a bit different, man. Because I'm thinking this. I'm thinking, yo, if I'm in an investment that I can double my money, and I'm a long term thinker myself. I'm not, the phrase quick money, quick, easy money is a turnoff to me. You lost me from Jump Street when I hear that, whether it's an investment or whether it's a business or whatever, it don't even matter. You know what I mean? But on the same side, shoot, if I'm in something that's doing like this, man, if I get my money back out, I'm staying in because I want to take advantage of all that potential upside. Absolutely.
I hear that 100%. And I'm
But
gonna tell
that
you,
again, we off topic. I'm sorry about that.
no, we're not. We're
No,
not. We're
not
still
at
talking about
all.
I'm just
investment.
enjoying the way this mic sound.
Quick.
I'm loving hearing myself talk on this.
Why
Tell her,
we ain't
hey,
get all of us mics, bro?
I say what?
yeah,
Why we ain't all get mics?
Yo,
because
I
that
got
was
the
my
joint.
gift.
I
That
got
was
the
my
joint.
gift. So you send me the link because I was supposed to get that gift, but I've been delayed. So you send me to where you got the mic, and my Gita, I'll get your mic.
All right.
Because I got the thing on my watch list right now. The four person setup.
See, and that's the difference, right? That's an investor. What he just said right there, that's an investor. I have it on my watch list. I am watching the market for when these are again within my value. And then
Yep.
when I had the resources available, I get in. And you don't go back and buy more mics, Maurice, just because they on sale, unless you intend to sell them, right? You get what you expect in return. And that's a whole nother part. We could have a whole conversation just on the expectation, like setting an expectation. Right? I love it. I
Yeah.
can't remember who said it, but like you got to build your expectation to the level of, I use the example all the time of like when you sit on a chair, you expect it to hold you up. When I invest, like I expect to double my return because that's what I set the
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 standard.
value to the standard to, right? Hey, I'm getting into this with the expectation I'm gonna get to this level. Otherwise, I'm not getting in, right? Or I'm gonna just or accept the loss at a certain point. You know, 25% is usually my target within a certain range, right? I'm willing to lose 25% to gain double or better. And when I got double, I'm out. I don't need to play the game anymore. I'm not gonna get back in right now because the moment has passed. The minute has passed, right? You can miss your mark trying to chase the market or chase the machine, right?
And I think the difference is reacting versus anticipating.
Absolutely. You put
Right.
it on
Like
your
that's
watch
where
list, right?
that's where investment really comes to mind, right? If I go into a situation with the expectation or anticipating a certain return, right? I've done my research, I've planned out, this is what I stand to gain. Right. Doesn't mean it's gonna work out perfectly. However, I have a plan to get the expected return. Right. I thought about it in advance. When you're reacting to what's already happening, you miss the mark. You haven't done any planning. You see something that's occurring and you're like, oh, but you weren't privy to the information beforehand. You weren't part of the community that informed you about how things work. You weren't educated. And so by the time you can act, it's too late.
Absolutely.
So anticipation, right? We talk about it in terms of this. What do people anticipate and prepare? Poor people react, right? They say proper planning prevents poor performance.
Piss poor performance.
Piss poor performance. However you want to look at it, right? Proper planning, prevents piss poor performance. But most people don't want to take the time to plan. They see something shiny, they see the carrot, and their emotions, because they're not self-aware, allow them to make a decision that is not in their best interest. But they don't see that, right? That's a blind spot. We talked about this a few weeks ago. When you're unaware of what can hold you back or trip you up, you're gonna fail every time.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if you're unaware that those things are tripping you up, or that you have a blind spot, you're going to continue to make the same mistakes. Whether it's you go from this thing to that thing to the next thing, right? You just keep shifting, but you haven't changed.
So
Makes total
man,
sense.
it makes sense to us. Nah, man, this is powerful. This is powerful, man. I didn't expect this kind of conversation. It's gone all over the place, but I really enjoyed it. I
That's what
like this.
live broadcasting is
I
about.
I like the flavor of this tonight, right? I definitely like the flavor of this. I'm listening to it from a listener's perspective and wondering a little bit like where are they going with this? Because like I kind of wet my mouth. I was like, man, I want to really learn about some investing, and what I got tonight was a little different. It was about like knowing yourself and your expectation. Right, Maurice. We talked a little bit about where the conversation might go today. What were your expectations for this podcast?
This was kind of right in line with what I saw, with the direction I saw us going. You know what I mean? To me, this is, like I said, my belief is everything is an investment. If you see, if you see, if you one of those people that believe that everything happens for a reason, if you one of those people that you believe that there is purpose in everything, there's cause for everything, there's opportunity in everything, whatever word you want to throw out there. But if you're one of those people that believe that there is reason, purpose, and cause in everything, then from that perspective, everything is an investment. Everything that you do, everywhere that you go, every month, all the money that you spend, all of the time, it's all because it's all the cause of something that's going to happen, right? And you believe that everything that happens for you, there is opportunity, there is reason, there is cause in it. And so, from that perspective, I mean, I kind of expected us to talk about, what we talked about tonight. The level of expectancy, the different types of investments that you can make, what qualifies as an investment, like I said, which is essentially, I feel, everything that you do, right? Every seed that you plant,
Right.
what you, how the return can come, right? It could come in a variety of different forms, and your perspective over it all. Because your perspective is one thing that determines the magnitude of the return, right? And what you're looking for. What are you going into it looking for? Which goes right in line with understanding your values. So I absolutely did expect all of this. A couple things I didn't expect, but nothing was out of the bounds of. When I say unexpected, that don't mean it was. It's like I expected this type of conversation. I expected this type of conversation. Yeah.
Okay.
From the way I see what an investment is, absolutely. I wasn't thinking we was going to be sitting here talking about the Dow. I didn't think we was gonna be doing that. You know what I mean? That ain't what we do. So,
That's true. That's not what we do. Um, now, I really like the idea of ROI because it has become like for me, it's something that I'm personally focusing on this year as well. Like in finishing what I started, it's like, all right, I've started a lot of things. I've opened up a lot of doors in my own life personally. And for those who are like that, who open up a lot of doors but still haven't seen the ROI, like you have to finish things. I think one thing that I heard already from it was another ad I think for the 120 conference that I'm part of is, the difference between the good and the great is the good know how to get started, right? And that we can have a whole conversation on. Like, what does it take to even get the good, right? You got to get started. There's a lot of people who still sitting on the sidelines, never starting anything. But the difference between the good and the great is the good get started. The great know how to finish, right? And I think a key piece in being able to finish is setting expectations on what your return will look like,
Makes
right?
sense.
You
Makes
know, a lot of
sense.
people want to start a business. Then what?
Yeah, that makes sense.
What's your
I've
RA? I want to
I've
start a
mastered
business.
starting stuff. I've
I think
mastered starting stuff.
I think we
Good,
can
bro.
all
You're not
claim
only
that.
starters.
I think we can all claim
You
that.
may
Like
not
we
be a
master
starter, but
starters, right?
you get.
Oh man. Yeah, my focus on it is becoming an elite finisher, right? In this space. And I told myself this years ago, man. I feel like I'm really good when starting projects, or I'm really good at finishing. But when it comes to doing a product from start to finish on my own, it feels like trying to, climb Mount Everest. It used to feel like trying to climb Mount Everest, and recognizing that, and again, it goes back to self awareness. Things like the disc and um, strengths quest or finder or something like that. All those different assessments
Strength
that you can
finder,
take
yeah.
to learn about yourself. I learned, man, I am a strong starter and a strong finisher. But when it comes to the detail and the work that goes in the middle, I lose interest oftentimes. Because for me, the energy and the excitement and the right, it's in the beginning of the race and it's at the end of the race. But I'd
Yep.
rather do the
Yep.
middle of the race on my own, right? Or I'm sorry, I need the team sort of cheering me on, right? When the gun goes off, I used to run track, right? When the gun goes off, like I'm out the gates, I want to get in the lead, and I got to maintain that lead. And then when you get to the end of the race, right, it's like, all right, what's my finish? What's my kick? I gotta kick in order to kick it out because somebody's chasing me down, somebody's running me down. But all in between, it's mental exercise, right? I need to get from this point to that point faster than the next guy. I need to get from this point to that point fast, and then the next guy became me, right? I need to get to this from this point to that point faster than my last time. So every time I'm running around the track, I used to run the mile. I'm tracking myself. All right, I'm at 1 minute, 25 seconds. All right, let me see if I can get that down. Right, and I'm constantly tracking. But that's what the middle of the race looks like. It's self tracking. It's self analysis, like what you're saying, self assessment and reassessment, and making those changes. Oh man, I need to pick it up this third lap because I'm too close to my time. I want to take 15 seconds off of it. I want to improve my result. But you got to finish something first, right? And that's what I think that's one of the key pieces when it comes to investing. You got to get started, right? Understand and learn from experts what you can expect as a return. What is your first championship look like in the reward? For me, it's double the investment, right? Or no, I'm sorry. The first point is like turn a profit. The first piece is like get from not profitable to profitable, right? And then you can focus on building and doubling and growing it and multiplying other ways. But it's like when I start a business, like I want to start a profitable business within. You got to be really specific about the expectations you set when you shift to investing in yourself and want to get out of that consumer mindset. So that's my final word. I got nothing else to say on this. I'm looking forward to whatever we come up with to talk about in 2 weeks.
I was gonna say, man, what's the next thing in succession? We kind of walking along the line here. What's the next subject?
Man, I'm feeling expectation as a conversation. I'm feeling expectation because in reading the book Expect to Win, right? I think believes by Monty Holmes.
Yep.
It really shifted my mindset about what expectation is. Like the level of faith it requires to expect is a big like it's a huge muscle to build. It's like back muscles. Like building expectation is like working your back. You know what I mean? Um, so I would love to have a conversation about like what expectation is, what it looks like, what especially for entrepreneurs. How do you build that muscle of expectation, and courage and faith to do the things necessary to reach where you want to be or to create the journey even that you want to create. So, how y'all feel about that? We will talk about some expectations next time.
That's a possibility. Even if we don't do it for a whole subject, I don't see if we no reason why we can't get into that.
Yeah, we can sew it into something.
Absolutely, Mike can dig into it the whole time.
All right, well, This is your MC, Mastermind Coach Bakar O. Bay. You can follow me on Instagram at Bobay World. That's BOBEY_world. And I've got my co-host, Majida Bay, your financial conductor. Where can they find you, Majida?
Majida Bay on all platforms.
Majida Bay, Majeeda, for those who are not Arabic literate. No. Majida Bay on all platforms. And Maurice, where can they find you in your community?
The Helpful Trucker.
The
The
Helpful
Helpful
Trucker.
Trucker community is where you find the community at. And just the Helpful Trucker on YouTube. You can find everything. You can find the community on my YouTube channel as well.
All right.
Yeah, so just YouTube, Helpful Trucker,
YouTube,
or
find
Google,
them.
either one, don't matter. I'm all over the place.
Well, now this is powerful, and this has been the S.E.A.R Mastermind Group. Again, your support and accountability hub for creative entrepreneurs, non-entrepreneurs, and solopreneurs.
Entrepreneurs.
It's the ones who haven't gotten started yet, right?
The entrepreneurs.
The entrepreneurs. Oh, I like that one. We got non-entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, solo, and creatives. I love it.
And about to be preneurs. I don't know.
Those are the wantras. The entrepreneurs. I want to start a business, and then what? Like that's my next question. And then what? Oh,
You gonna finish one?
you gonna finish one? Yo, you gonna finish one? That's probably what y'all asking me right now. Like, are you gonna finish that coaching? let me jump on that. Let me finish this conference and finish that programs that I started last year. So, hey, it's been fun hanging out with y'all. This is probably one of the best podcasts I had with you, and we had some great ones last year. It's a great way to launch off the year. So,
We gonna get better.
yeah. Hey, we got a fancy setup. One of us got a fancy mic. We getting there.
We're working on it.
Little by little, right?
Look, piece by piece, y'all gonna see it evolve and come together. Like in a couple years, you'll be looking at episode 100 and be like, "Wow, we made it to 100." Let's look back at the first episode. But no, it's cool hanging out, being real with y'all, and we used to start around this time, so I'm happy to be able to pop off and we can end the live. I don't know what we talking about now, but yeah, next time we'll tease it. Next time we'll be talking about expectations in your life, in your business, and how to build the muscle of expectation.
Sound good.
Boom.
There it
Signing
is.
off.